My name is Ericka Streeter Hodge. I recently published my first collection of poetry. It is entitled Soul Fire, Prose of Passion and Peace. I am originally from Mobile, Alabama. I began writing a long time ago. I realized that I've always been a writer of beautiful words. Recently, this year I was moved to publish a book. I accepted that my writings are very good, and more importantly, I realized that my voice needs to be heard. I have stories to tell, and I am ready to share them with the world. I think we will start with Oh God, oh God. I get angry sometimes when I think there's no way up for us from here, because it seems you're way up there, just watching. I get sad when I know mothers slap their babies and hate their sons because they look like their fathers, and the fathers hate everyone because they can't love themselves. They weren't taught to. Oh God, how can we see hope when for every act of kindness there are 1,000 acts of cruelty? You know what? Let me stop questioning how this God stuff works and the how and why of hearts of others. I know how to do God stuff. So I'll be here hugging folks and holding hands, spreading my bit of sunshine in the shady places, letting my little light shine in some dark spaces. Like when I saw the little boy, lost as he was, laid out on that pavement, shaking and heaving. I knew he felt only fear. Fear that he was breathing his last breaths, fearing he would die there in front of all those strangers. Oh God. I saw in his eyes he only wanted to erase that day. He wished he'd walked the other way. I knew he just wanted his mother, so I was there in her stead, praying the prayers I knew would be in her heart, and felt the ache I knew she'd have in her bones. As I knelt low beside him, I rubbed his back and felt the sweat from his efforts to live and the grit from where he'd first fallen. I placed my hand on his forehead and said, "Baby, you're gonna be all right. I'm with you." As blood and bile came from his mouth, love came from my heart, so he would know he was wrapped in hope and grace abound just for him. I'm growing to understand that my little corner of the world is connected to someone else's little corner of the world, and the edges aren't really edges at all, but hands clasped together, holding on to the truth that we are all connected, all one. We just have to help each other heal, show each other what love is. I don't get it right all the time, but I'm trying. So God, when you're ready to do something greater than before, just make it plain and show us that we're more alike than different, open to every beautiful deed, and closer to having our heaven here on earth. This piece, Sister of Sacrifice, as it is noted in the book, is inspired by the courage of then Deborah Johnson, now Akua Njeri, the passion of brothers Fred Hampton and Mark Clark, and by the power of the people. Sister of Sacrifice. She laid next to her man in that bed that vibrated with the pulse of each pig-placed projectile. Even with her belly swollen with the life he'd placed inside her, her instinct, The instinct of many black women drove her to protect this giant who they came to chop down. She laid her body, her baby, on top of him to protect him. He looked at her but spoke not. Too much blood had already left his body. Too much strength had already left this pillar. And too much wind had left the lungs that had breathed life into the Chicago chapter. Deborah clung to him, grasping for his soul, pleading for his life, demanding the bullets stop raining on her king until they dragged her away. "He's good and dead now," they said. She could no longer keep his spirit from rising above the ceiling, out of view of their hateful stares. When I knew her story, I wept as I saw her mission not so foreign to me. Feeding my man my flesh so his belly stayed fat. Putting my dreams to bed so his could take flight. This sister of sacrifice thought his life more precious, more powerful than her own. Believed her love could shield him from their hate. I wish she'd been right. Though the sun rose in the sky that morning, the spirits of some of the people sat cold and dim for a while. For 2 brothers of the revolution had been murdered while resting. They'd believed they'd close their eyes so they could continue the fight the next day. Those cowardice cops said no. They thought they'd silenced a people, killed a cause. But the greater mercy said yes. Voices still shouted. Protesters still marched. Children were still educated because warriors were on. Fighters fight on and teachers still teach. They expect us to quit or to die. They set traps and tell lies and always will. So be watchful and ready, because they will dip your body into a pool of sorrows they created for you, and you will stew. They will chew on your flesh and gnaw on your bones and throw you into a pile with the rest of them who slept with eyes wide open. Where eternity begins. Some women don't care who enters them because they have not learned of their value. They have not learned of their holiness and how what they offer in their loving is a gift meant to be matched with the prized jewels of her beloved. I am not in this count, for I know that when I offer myself, a sacred exchange is taking place, because we are divine and meant to meet bliss in the heavens. We are creating new stars from the dust of our days. So when you enter me, you are gliding into a new world every time. When I spread my legs for you, as wide as Orion's belt, you're diving into the blessed blackness from which all life springs. You see things brighter than before because your mind and body have swam in the sea of ancestral brilliance and wisdom. When we melt into one another like the alchemist's metals, God becomes bigger and greater, and life becomes fuller, richer, because our blessed bodies are one as the universe intended. When I reach down to assist with entry, I'm not overstepping or wrongly taking control. I'm simply guiding you into the ecstasy that was meant for you. See, you are my lover, and I am yours, gripping you, squeezing you with my inner self, pouring my essence onto you, giving back the passion you give, shivering from the power in your thrusts, screaming to the heavens so the angels know that love is being made and that their lessons have not been wasted, for we are grateful for the holy throng. The constellations we create, the stars that shoot across the skies can be seen by other lovers, and they make wishes on the sweat of our backs, for that's what they see streaking across the night sky. Our loving on fire. When you are ready, and I mount up. I take the reins of the mythical Ericka and ride us into the place where magic meets magic. And we explode brighter than 1,000 bursting suns, and in that I rock myself to sleep in your arms and you in mine, where eternity begins.